Seraphim 17 once again. This is my Dark Souls restricted Soul Level 1 run, and this is the final chapter of it. This is the Immortal to the Lord of Cinder. And we're in the prison in the Duke's Archive, so we're going to get the key off the Serpent guy, and we're going to continue onwards. And this is kind of strange, this bit here, guys, because what happened is I killed these two Serpent dudes. Nice and simply, they go down quite well. Normally they'll just ignore you and run for the ladder, which is very rare that they engage you like these guys did on the first one anyway. And then afterwards I came down and the Picaras, or whatever they're called, the little stupid crazy things, I don't know what they are, the Seath experiments, whatever you want to call them, they're annoying. And when I came down, one of them hit me, so I had to restart from the bonfire. But when I went back to the bonfire, they were all gone when I came down here. They were all in that room. And did you notice how the music changed? Completely changed. That's because there was an edit there that I made between the first run, which is what you saw. The first run was me killing those two things. I ran down, I got hit by a Picara, wherever they are. Then I ran back up, bonfire, came back. And on the second run, they were all gone. So I do not fight any of them in this run, which I thought was interesting. And that noise, that awful fucking noise that you have to turn off, for whatever reason, was already turned off. So, weird. Very weird. But this is tough, because you've got two Serpent guys, and you've got the multiple-armed Serpent dude who throws lightning. So I'm going to try and get their attention to lure them down the ladder and kill them when they get off the ladder, because they're very vulnerable at that point. That guy threw lightning at me, and thank God it hit that side bit, because if it didn't, I would have been hit, and I would have had to come all the way back down here. But he's seen me now, so he's going to come. Just wait for him to land, and then start mashing him. Nothing he can do. You're too strong at this point, and he's too weak. His buddy's coming too. This is the one throwing lightning, so that's him dead. And the third guy didn't see me, so the third guy's just going to be chilling up here, so we can go and take him out now. But the Duke seems like there was so much more planned for it. There's the whole cog system and all that stuff in the middle of this room. It seemed like they had a lot of ambitions for this place. And it could have been really, really interesting and detailed. And it could have been all Scooby-Dooey with secret walls and bookcase doors and stuff. But in the end, it's so simple. So simple. Not a lot here, not much to do. And that's the one thing I hope for Dark Souls 2. I just, regardless of if the game is good, regardless of if I like it or not, I just want them to be able to say that everything is what they wanted it to be. You know, everything had the time and attention that it deserved. Everything had the man hours and the manpower behind it to make what they wanted to make. And for all we know at this moment in time, they might completely fuck it up. They might completely change the game, completely break it. You know, just make it pointless, worthless, and nowhere near as good as the lineage of the Soul games. But as long as it didn't get any cutbacks, or it is the full vision of what the game director wanted, then I'm happy. And I think even if it is worse, I'm still going to enjoy it, because it's an extension of this game, and I love this game so much. Like, you could literally give Demon Souls the Dark Souls makeover, and I would love that game much more. Just because I prefer this to the other one. And a lot of people, like, there's the constant internet debate over which is better, which you prefer, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't really think you can say Dark Souls is better than Demon Souls. I mean, fundamentally, mechanically, and certain features are superior, but it's down to the person. It's all down to the person. And you're going to like whichever one resonates the most to you. And to me, that's this one, because this is the one I started with, and you always prefer the one you start with. And lovely view through the graphics there. And do you see what that was? It did a plunge attack after the backstab, because I was clipping through the world for some weird reason. That was madness. But Demon Souls is a great game, and it's... When I say that I prefer this, that's not a slant on the other one. It's just to say that this is kind of my baby. This is the one that that I'll remember the most. Because I played Demon Souls afterwards, and as much as I enjoy that game, because it is a great game, this one is just the superior for me. So this is when stuff gets just dumb. There's archers everywhere, there's sneaky golems in all the corners, which... The biggest threat here is the clipping. It's not the attacks, it's not the enemies, it's the fact that you can't get past them in these tiny corridors. They completely block the fucking way. And that is the biggest danger, because while you're trying to get past somebody with a roll, somebody's firing an arrow at you that you can't see, and they get a lucky hit. But like I said, this is going to be as quick as I can possibly make it, because I never stick around in the Dukes. Everything that you can pick up is just worthless, except for maybe the Evelyn, and I never use the Evelyn anymore, as cool as it looks. It's far too heavy, and you really need to build your character around it. But the trickiest part's coming up. Dropping onto the bridge and not getting hit by the channeler can be difficult, and then there's the guy with the bow across from you who's an asshole, because I'm going to be throwing knives and fireballs at him, and the biggest problem is running up to him and getting a lock on before he shoots you. And the thing that sucks is there's no railing when you run towards him, so you can't just run towards him, hold forward and then try and get the lock on, because you'll run clean off the ledge and fall and die, which I did, because I've been playing games that actually had barriers to stop you from falling and dying, and Dark Souls, you know, doesn't give a shit. It just lets you fall. And I want to know how these crystal guys make their arrows do that. You know, they swerve in midair. They've got some Wesley arrows. You know, Morgan Freeman's been showing these golems how to shoot the wings off of flies. It's not fair at all. But once you turn this, I generally just roll into this mast over here so that he doesn't hit me with his soul arrows. And this is the last bastion between you beating the Duke's Archive in this challenge run. It's this asshole. Because believe it or not, your character can run over that edge. It looks like it should be a wall. It looks like you shouldn't be able to go over it, but you can. And you can go over it just by running. And I find it really frustrating. So I'm going to put some knives on and I'm going to attack this guy. So I use the knife to interrupt the bow, and then I swap to the bombs to do the damage, because the bombs are significantly stronger than the knives. The knives are shit, but did you notice how it interrupted him so he couldn't shoot me? Which is really, really useful. Oh, and on the previous piece of footage as well, if you look closely, you'll notice that I go from having chip damage from falling to having full life, and that's because it's two different pieces of footage. So before anybody points out, oh, you so-and-so and so-and-so, as you've seen, I've not taken any damage from the enemies. All I've taken is fall damage. And this guide is a testament to editing more than skill, which I'm going to keep repeating just to try and, you know, dissuade those people that like to point out that I think I'm good at games, or I think I'm a great player when I'm not, or any of the other allegations that I get on a daily basis from dickheads, basically. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the dust ring and I'm going to jump off this platform to get me into lowish life. Bear in mind, do not get into tier stone range here, because there's a couple of jumps that I'm going to be doing in the crystal caverns, and they hurt, so you're going to need that life for later. Because there's nothing worse than getting all the way through the crystal caverns and then dying on a fall. Which can happen, because falling in this place is extremely easy to do, because there's no fucking floor, essentially. It's invisible. And before I played this game, I watched a guy play through it. And I say watch, I kind of listened more than watched, because I didn't want to see everything, because I didn't want to ruin it for myself. I was playing games at the time, and I was listening to his thoughts and his opinions on what he was doing, and it gave me quite a lot of knowledge before I played the game, so that I had a basic understanding of what poise meant. I had, you know, a basic understanding of how certain systems worked. And when I say basic, I mean really basic. I knew what it did, I just didn't quite understand what that meant. If you can understand that extremely strange expression. Like, I understood that weapons scaled to get damage, but I didn't really fully comprehend what it meant. There was a lot of things that took me a while to figure out on this game. Like just the UI and stuff. When you look at weapons and it's got all those numbers and letters, it's really confusing, and it's intimidating too. And that's why a lot of people probably don't play, because just you look at it, you think, Jesus, this doesn't make any sense to me. This is alien. And if you came from Demon Souls, you already know all that stuff, because Demon Souls is a very similar layout. But not a lot of folks did, because Demon Souls was a PS3 exclusive, which I thought this was funny too. Guy screams at me, so I scream at him. There's going to be a transition as well, because lo and behold, he fucking hit me, didn't he? But I wanted to keep it in just to show you the impromptu hilarity of our little taunt match. That is effectively the "come at me bro" to which I say "come at me bro" moment, which I thought was good. And the strategy for Seath is the same that I did in my guide. I wait for him to hit this with his own attack so that I can get behind him and hit his tail. Hitting his back tail is a good idea, because if you can chop it off, not only will you get a cool weapon, but you'll also lower his range. Because when you run behind this enemy, the biggest and worst thing he will do is try and smash the tail on you. So if you can get rid of the tail like that, it definitely gets rid of some of his lethality. He'll still hit you. Oh, watch this too. This is red tearstone fireballs. Look at that shit. How powerful is that? That's a good chunk of life, that. And what I'm doing is I'm throwing the fireballs at him to try and make him come to me, instead of walking into walls like he was doing before, the stupid bastard. But there is his breath attack. There's me clipping on his tail, so I decide to smack his tail because it was annoying me. And he's going to do his tail attack almost immediately to get out of there. Oh no, he's turned around. But back to the firebombs to get his attention so that he doesn't just needlessly walk into walls like a douche. Although, he's making a pretty compelling douchey move just then. Like, where's he going? It's like, come on dude, I'm over here. You're walking into the wall. And it makes it awkward then, because when he finally does right himself and get him into the arc that he's supposed to travel, he's too close. And when he's too close, he'll either hit you with the breath, or the crystals on the floor that aren't even there sometimes and still damage you. Or he'll cock block you so you can't get away, and he'll hit you that way. It's interesting. Like, Seath is not hard. Seath is really not hard. And if you're not level 1 and you don't care about taking damage, you can stand in front of him and just beat his tits off quite comfortably. So there's a nice bit of revenge for that cheap death that he handed to us earlier on. We're going to hit the bonfire, and then we're going to give over the Lord Souls. So when I sit down, it's going to link to the other one. It's known as a match cut. There are cleaner ways of doing match cuts. I just didn't really take the time to line them up and everything. But I'm going to completely ignore the sleeping idiot. I'm probably going to... Oh, I didn't smack him. I usually smack him on my way down. Shame on me. That's why he's there, so you can hit him with your weapons needlessly. So I left a loading screen in then, which is pretty amateurish of me, but I'll get over it, I guess. This is a live playthrough. They are slightly different, and I thought I'd share this cutscene because this is a pretty important moment. Handing over the Lord Souls and opening the kiln. And I never usually do cutscenes on Let's Plays. I do, because I usually talk over them, or I take the piss out of them, which is usually the thing I enjoy doing the most. But there is the kiln. It's time to kick some ass. So away from the Firelink altar, we move down the heavenly looking steps. Very ethereal, very eerie. I love it when the knights are all walking across, all phantom. I wish there was more of them, more frequently. But then again, there's a lot of things I wish in the first flame, in the kiln. Because this place is probably one of the coolest places on the game, and it's so small and so unutilized that it makes me really sad. And you'll notice there's a retrieval, because this guy messed me up. So I get my revenge on him with the big giant blacksmith hammer. I'm not going to be using this hammer on Gwyn, because as a lot of people know, he's extremely defensive to lightning, and he's actually weak to fire, which doesn't make any sense, seeing as he's the Lord of Cinder. But I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to parry him twice and he's going to die. Because I'm going to be using the club with the Hornet's Ring in Tearstone range, and it does a ridiculous amount of damage. But it doesn't do nowhere near the same amount of damage as what it used to do before they patched the Hornet Ring. In fact, I reckon the Tearstone range club that I'm using now on the original Hornet Ring probably might have one-shot Gwyn, just because of the difference in the damage that it does. Especially if I'd have used a rapier, a Chaos Rapier with 10 humanity, I have almost no illusion that it would have probably one-shot Gwyn. Because the damage parameters on that Hornet Ring used to be astounding. Now they are lesser so, much lesser. But a cool thing happens up here. What I was doing is I was killing this guy, I was using the Dust Crown, and then I was using Power Within to kill my life. I'd get myself into Tearstone range and I'd quit out up here. But what would happen is, when I ran down these steps, the Black Knight with the Great Axe would be there every time. But the dude with the halberd would vanish. He'd completely disappear, and I didn't know why. And it must have been, when I quit out, I must have been despawning him or something, because he left. He went to the shops to get some cigarettes or whatever he does on his weekends, and he didn't come back. And it was really useful, because the halberd guy is probably the most crafty Black Knight when it comes to hitting you when you don't expect it, because he does that Demon Souls run, which is an attack, and he also has a lot of range and a lot of sweep on his weapon. But I have farmed the Black Knights in this kiln for so long that I am so comfortable with fighting them. It's not too bad, really. Some places, like in the Tomb of the Giants, I'm not very comfortable fighting there because it's just that place, but the guy with the greatsword, he's probably the one who's the toughest for me, the Ultra Greatsword guy, because sometimes he lands and it doesn't even touch you and you're dead, and you can't argue it because he one-shots you half the time. But here is Gwyn, here's the jump parry, and the first of the 2 riposts that it's going to take to kill him. So there's 1500 damage, nearly half his life. There's a 2-handed smack, and then there's the second parry. So if he does the one-handed single swing, it is so fast, it'll almost hit you every time. You have to literally parry as he moves, and if he doesn't do that attack and he does the 2-handed one like he did then, you will die. So it's kind of like a gamble to get that second parry, because Gwyn can do a lot of things. He can kick you, he can try and grab you, he can do the one-handed, the 2-handed, he can jump away. It's not an easy fight by any standards, but parrying Gwyn is the most successful way to kill him, as you just saw. And I thought this was funny. I wanted to walk out of the kiln like a man, and then I hit this like invisible crazy step. I'm like, what's going on here? There's nothing even stopping me. I'm just trying to walk out, getting nowhere fast. Just, come on, we've just done something really epic. All I would like to do is walk out of the kiln like a baller, and I had to roll. But there it is, folks. There is a Soul Level 1 restriction run of Dark Souls, taking no damage, except for the restrictions, of course. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and you take care now.